Absolutely.
And real true sports. Always.
True school sports.
True school sports.
There you go.
Always.
My flow, my show brought me the dough. That brought me all my fancy things. My crib, my cars, my clothes, my jewels. Look, homie, I done came up and I ain't changing. You should love it way more than you hate it. Oh, you mad? How come that you be happy I made it?
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers now. I'm walking home from my local Starbucks. Bit tired, been on my computer all morning, but we do what we gotta do to get you guys some good content, and there will be good content coming out here on True School Sports, so stay tuned for it as all the new interviews and videos come out on the channel. But wanted to talk about last night's fight, Jermell Charlo versus Jorge Cota. I didn't make any videos about the fight beforehand because, to be quite honest with you, I kind of knew how it was going to play out. I've seen Jorge Cota fight one time against Erickson Lubin, and that's all I needed to see. I knew he would be tough. He was tough, but ultimately he was outgunned, and he was made to order for Jermell Charlo. So what do we make last night? What do we make of last night as boxing fans? Do we sit here and say that Jermell Charlo's back and all these things? Because that's what I keep hearing from fight fans. They keep saying, oh well, Jermell Charlo's back and Lions only and he's back to the elite level. Well, he fought Jorge Cota, a guy who was most famous for getting knocked out by Erickson Lubin on the Danny Garcia Keith Thurman undercard. I mean, Erickson Lubin literally did a squat. He did a whole squat in front of Jorge Cota, came back up, shot a left hand down the middle, and stopped him. In 4 rounds, Charlo got him out of there in 3. So, a lot of people were saying before the fight, Jorge Cota is a dangerous opponent for Jermell Charlo. I didn't quite see it that way. I thought he was made to order. I was watching the fight on TV with my dad last night, and I even told my dad in the second round, I said, Jermell Charlo is gonna knock Jorge Cota out because Jorge Cota is gonna get hit with some dumb shit, like some right hand, because he stands right in front of you, and that's the thing with Jermell Charlo. He's a good fighter when you stand in front of him. When you stand in front of Jermell Charlo, you lose. It's that simple. If you stand in front of him, you will lose. Let me cross the street. If you stand in front of him, you will lose. We've seen fighters who don't have a reputation for being boxers outbox Jermell Charlo for long periods of time, particularly in the John Jackson fight. And then when he finally ran into a good boxer who was durable enough to lower the punch output and make it, and dictate the pace and use the whole ring, and Tony Harrison, we saw Charlo lose and ultimately lose his world title. So I don't really make much of his performance last night against Jorge Cota. I just think it was like, it was what it was, man, with that level of opposition. Fair play to him. I'm not going to sit here and dismiss the performance. It was great. He stopped Jorge Cota a round earlier than Erickson Lubin did. And, big shout to McDonald's right there. But he stopped Jorge Cota a round earlier than Erickson Lubin, so it was a good performance. It was something, to watch. It was a highlight reel knockout. I mean, that when he hit Jorge Cota with that second right hand, he double jabbed and then shot a right hand down or one jab and then right hand down the pipe, and it stopped Jorge Cota. It had him looking all the way up at the ceiling, like his soul was leaving his body. It was almost reminiscent. That knockout was reminiscent of Wilder's knockout of Dominic Breazeale. Same exact sequence of punches. So it was a highlight reel knockout. It was the kind of performance he needed, but it did nothing to change my mind of him beating the top guys on 154. I don't see Jermell Charlo beating the likes of Julian Williams. I don't see him beating the likes of Tony Harrison. I don't see him beating the likes of Jarrett Hurd. If Jarrett Hurd is can still make the weight comfortably and is strong, I don't see him beating Jarrett Hurd. So it is what it is. But it's good for Charlo. He's very much a confidence fighter, and when you lose a fight like he did against Tony Harrison and you feel like you got robbed, it can really mess with your confidence. So if last night did anything for Jermell Charlo, it definitely got his confidence back to where it needed to be. And hopefully, when the Harrison fight does take place, he can be at his best, and we can get a good fight. It's just like with him, he's one of those fighters where if you stand right in front of him, he's a fantastic fighter. He's a damn near A-level fighter if you stand in trade with him. And you know, Jermell Charlo's got fight-changing power. I'll never take that away from Jermell Charlo. You know, for everything I say bad about Jermell Charlo, one thing I'll never say about him or question is that power. If you stand in front of him in exchange, he's got fight-changing power. The kind of power that will change your perception of a fight and change the whole course of a fight. So, you know, again, I'm not hating on him, but good performance by him. But it's not really doing much to change my mind of him beating the likes of Julian Williams, Tony Harrison, or even a Jarrett Hurd who's strong at the weight. I wanted to touch on another fight before I end the video. You know, I saw Joey Spencer's fight against Kareem or Akeem Black, whatever his name was, a guy from Wisconsin he fought, 5-2, coming into the fight. Joey Spencer, man, he's a fighter that I'm not really like sold on. And the funny thing is, like, people always want to include Joey Spencer in the list of top American amateurs who are going to become good pros. And I've never drank that Kool-Aid. I never saw Joey Spencer as like the next big thing in American boxing. And he fought Kareem Black or Akeem Black, whatever his name was, who was 5-2 from Wisconsin. You know, he did have a whole lot of amateur background. He started boxing out of a detention center at 16, and Spencer was getting caught flush with the left, with hard jabs, right hands. His whole nose was busted and bleeding. So he better tighten up his defense. I mean, he might need to change trainers from his pops, because like he's not cutting the mustard, man. He's getting hit too damn much, and they haven't even really stepped up that much as far as the level of opposition. I mean, when you consider who he fought in the fight before this, he fought like a retired fireman or a retired firefighter. So, you know, when you consider that to Akeem Black, you know, that is a step up in class, but that really says more about your lack of quality of opposition than it does either one of those two guys. But he was hurt, he was in trouble, and you know, people are not really happy or pleased with his performance. So hopefully for Joey, he can tighten up, because a lot of people do rate him highly. I personally don't. I knew Joey Spencer was in trouble, and I knew he wasn't going to be the next thing, big thing a couple years ago when he did an interview on Dante's Boxing Nation. He did an interview on Dante's Boxing Nation, and they were asking him about my main man, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, and he said, fighters like Roman Gonzalez, they don't last in the sport. I'm like, you idiot. The guy has 45 plus fights as a 4-division champion, lineal champion, pound king of boxing. Don't you ever talk bad about Chocolatito. So the irony of all that is, if he don't change trainers and tighten up his defense, he ain't gonna have much of a career, because he's getting pieced up left and right last night by Akeem Black. So, you know, wasn't too impressed with him. And that's what it is. I'm gonna have another video, a separate video coming out on Regan Dial versus Julio Ceja, because that fight really pissed me off, and we'll get to that as I continue this walk home. So yeah, Jermell Charlo, this fight did nothing for me. He's not beating Tony Harrison in the rematch. He's not going to he's definitely not beating Julian. Julian Williams will whip him a new asshole, straight up. Julian Williams will destroy him, because I know his older brother beat Julian Williams, but Jermell ain't Jermall. Jermall is a much more skilled fighter than Jermell. Jermall, actually, to me, I would class him as an elite middleweight as far as talent goes. Jermell, not so much. Jermell is just a guy that has had great matchmaking and hooked up with Derek James, improved a little bit. So he's looked better than he really is. But so you're not your brother, and I think Julian Williams would dominate Jermell Charlo. In fact, if Tony Harrison was able to win that many rounds against you, Julian Williams might not lose a round against Jermell Charlo. So I would stay very far away from Julian Williams if I was Jermell. But that's my take on that match if it ever were to happen. But you guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below about Jermell Charlo's performance last night against Jorge Cota, stopping him in the third round on Fox. It was pretty cool. But yeah, leave your comments down below. You know, take the time to subscribe. Like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.
Hey guys, Christina Poncher here, and you're watching True School Sports.